There we go. Says we're on air. And welcome to the Killer Frogs, the podcast all about TCU athletics from the fans' point of view. My name is Sean Fouché, and this is Season 4, Episode 18 for, get this, January 2nd, 2000 and, am I going to get this right, 18. This is our first podcast for the new year. Of course, we're recording this over the weekend, but it is released on Tuesdays. Tonight, our panel of experts, we've got Killer Frog Emeritus Wes Phelan. Wes, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Sean. How about yourself?
Did you make it back to Georgetown okay with Dave after the game?
Yeah. We met up at Buc-ee's, and you still had 4.5, 5 hours ahead of you. So I only had an hour and a half, so I'm good.
Yeah, well, Wes and I both decided to travel back north after the game was over at midnight, and of course he only had to go to Georgetown. I had to go all the way back to Arlington, but yeah, the win in that bowl game was wind beneath my wings, so to speak, for 4.5 hours. So, but I did stop at Whataburger, which we could talk about later. We also have TCU Hall of Famer WC Nix. Hey, Dubber.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. It's a great win. Good day to be a Horned Frog. Good weekend.
It is a good weekend.
Day to be a Horned Frog, Dubber.
It's always a good day. It doesn't matter every day. I've been a Horned Frog for a long time, and it's always a good day to be a Horned Frog.
There you go.
And we have the boss, Ryan Zeller. Hey, Ryan, you back from Arlington?
Yes, I'm back to Arlington finally. It's been a fun holiday. I'm glad we still have a couple more days left of it so we can recover.
Yeah, and you and Mike caught that Ohio State game last night, right?
Yeah, we sure did at the Cotton Bowl. It was pretty fun. I will say, though, for tailgating, we did have our TCU Horned Frog purple tent up, and we got a lot of Go Frogs as people were walking by.
Good deal.
USC fans, Ohio State, or both?
Both, actually, yeah. Or maybe they're actually like people like me that were dressed up as a fan, but not really a fan, and they, saw us and thought, "Oh yeah, Go Frogs." So
were you wearing red?
But
no, she said she was wearing purple.
She was purple.
No, I didn't. I was wearing red.
Oh my goodness.
You're out.
I did have purple underwear on, but that
Cut
was
her
it.
camera off. She's out.
And moving on from that, and tonight Hunter is in Colorado, so he's not going to be joining us. But we do have a special guest, a very special guest, Ronnie Carroll from 94 to 99, and ex-TCU baseball player. Ronnie, thanks for joining us tonight.
Appreciate it, John.
Coming all the way from Houston. How are things down there?
Ronnie was at the bowl game as well. We actually ended up sitting next to each other. We were separated the first half, and then his parents had to drive back, and so we went down there, and it changed the mojo of the game. So I'm pretty sure that's the reason we won.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Oh no, I changed my shirt at halftime.
Oh, you did? What color?
Yeah.
Dubber, you need.
So Dubber changed shirts, and Ryan and Ronnie, you guys changed seats, and that was the key to the victory.
That's exactly right.
No, I wore my purple pants.
I can't tell you how many times people came up to us in the press box and had a comment. Pants.
I know.
Like the entire night, people were like, "Are those purple pants?"
Connie came up to me one day when I'm not at the game, of course, but he came up to me one day and said, "Are those velvet?" And I said, "No, they're not velvet." So
that's Frog Daddy gear right there, man.
Yeah, that's Frog Daddy stuff. A door that swings another way, let's say. So, no, it's not. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all. Well, before we get to the bowl game and the recap of the TCU victory over Stanford, we do want to talk about basketball. Ryan, against Oklahoma. Take us through this.
Oh gosh, I was out there, y'all. It was awesome. I know at the very end we lost it, just very, very, very bitter end. We were ahead the majority of the game. It was super exciting. The Frogs are the real deal. So everybody can stop talking about how we haven't played anybody yet. We played OU. They're awesome. The best players in the nation. And if it weren't for some missed free throws and
free throws. I was there too. Free throws.
Yep. then we would have won. So that I'm proud of them. Sad we lost, but WC, what was your take on it?
Same thing. I mean, we started real slow. I mean, they went up, but then we fought back pretty quick, and it looked like we had the game in hand. But when we went to the free throw line, we just missed too many. We missed too many free throws. If we would have made a quarter of the free throws we missed, if we'd made just 2 extra free throws, we'd won. I mean, that was the big part of it. We missed a lot of free throws.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those games that you hope that the team doesn't take too seriously, and as far as kind of regressing a little bit, but that they learn something from it, because it wasn't free throws. Yes, I mean that's important. I mean, when you're given gimme points, you got to take them whenever you can get them. But also transitional D was a little lacking as well.
It was a little lacking too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The point guard for Oklahoma is
and WCU entered the grid again.
I'm
gonna fit you. I think what you said was he was the real deal, and I
was
agree.
Definitely the real deal.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaking loss, but yeah, this team's the real deal, and if they can shore up a couple of things, it looks like they can run with anybody, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy. I was there in the late '90s, the '98 teams, and I had a buddy that went to the game. And he said it was very reminiscent of those Utah matches that we had, back when Billy Tubbs and those guys were killing it. Same type of atmosphere, he said.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like that in 20 years.
Yeah.
But so it's exciting to hear. I was wondering if we were ever going to get back to that point.
I agree. It was full. It was a packed house. I didn't actually see this tweet from Jamie Dixon, but I was told about it, that I think it was a tweet or like a conversation on social media about how to get more people to the Coliseum or the arena. And honestly, it just takes winning, and it takes years of winning, just like it did with football. And today was a packed arena, and I follow him on Twitter, and afterwards, one of his followers from Pittsburgh said, "I wish you would have showed that much enthusiasm, the last few years you were at Pittsburgh." And I was like, "Hey, don't mess with our coach." And so, I got on there and responded. And that's first of all, maybe Pittsburgh didn't have a problem filling up their arena like we have in the past. Maybe their basketball team's probably been pretty good for a while. And secondly, that's just what our coaches do. Almost all of them tweet and get on social media. That was one of the greatest things about Del Conte. And so it's just the way we do things at TCU. It's not that he wasn't like that at Pittsburgh. It's that Pittsburgh maybe Pittsburgh wasn't like that, and then he's changed a little bit maybe since he's gotten over here. But he's doing a great job, and super excited to see the how we end up at the end of the year. We're already ahead than we were 2 years ago. So.
No, it seems like Pitt was always trying to run them off too, and it seems like their fan base was all over them the whole time. So
he's just happier here.
Well, all the coaches,
those fan
Tubbs. I mean, we had great crowds. I mean, I used to come to every game when Tubbs was coaching. It was fun to watch. The atmosphere was great. Even though we were in the WAC, and I guess it was the WAC at that time, weren't we? It was there were some good people. Mexico, Utah was always good.
UIU,
Fresno was solid. And they had some great coaches. I mean, my gosh, Jerry Tarkanian, was Rick Majerus. I mean, those are some hellacious coaches. I've got a funny Tarkanian story for you real quick. After one of our victories against we played Fresno. No, we didn't win, but we're in the media room afterwards where they bring the player and the coaches come in. And TCU at the time had a popcorn machine at the back of the media room. And so Tarkanian gets up there and he's got his towel and he's mopping his brow, pretty much like you see him on the sidelines. He looks out there and he says, "Is that popcorn?" Somebody said, "Yeah." He said, "Is it free?" Everybody said, "Yeah, coach, you want some popcorn?" And he said, "Yeah." And I would happen to be the closest, so I got to get Jerry Tarkanian a bag of popcorn. And you didn't even tip me. Can you believe that?
Well, if he's asking if it's free popcorn, I don't think he's got his wallet on him.
Well, I mean, come on. The man probably made $500,000, you know, and he's worried about free. Anyway.
Yeah.
He just old school.
Would have been big bucks back then for any coach, but, you know. Anyway, he got his popcorn. I got a story out of it, so that's about it. So, anyway, I'm through. I can go to bed now.
Not yet. We still have to talk about the bowl game.
Okay.
TCU unfortunately goes down to Oklahoma, but you know, like Ryan said, and we're so far ahead of where anybody thought this team would be going into this season, and it's been again to what Jamie Dixon's been able to do with this team.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, he's just really single-handedly pumped life into this program because it was. I won't say it was on life support, but it wasn't going anywhere.
It was.
And then
we only had 12 wins, 2 years ago in 2015? Like total 12 wins? I think last year we only had 12 losses. It was a total flip-flop.
Yeah.
On life support, it had practically no pulse. I mean, it was you're about ready to call it at that point.
Well, they were getting the paddles out to try and, cardiac resuscitation, but it was pretty, like I said, there was no pulse. It was.
I will say, I hope they do bounce back because next week on January 6th, we play KU, and that's going to be a sellout. So, I mean, it's already sold out. The tickets are, if you've seen them on StubHub, it's a ridiculous amount of money.
Tickets today were ridiculous. I think they were, $120 or something? It was,
get out of here for a TCU basketball ticket?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. See, that's progress right there.
Yeah. Exactly. So they play. I think that's on a Saturday. Next Saturday they play KU, and then the following day on the 7th is women's basketball against Texas Tech, and that's an afternoon game. And y'all go out there. It's so much fun. You can get a GA ticket for $5. You can actually. We have an event that's going on there called Rima Roan. Reach out to us on our social media. We can give you her information. You can get a $4 ticket and bring your kids. There's going to be face painting and all kinds of fun things and fun giveaways for your family for the women's basketball game. And they do a good job there. So we're hoping to fill the arena up for them.
To clarify, the $5 and $4 tickets are for the women's basketball game, right?
Yes, only women's.
Okay. just wanted to make sure.
They're going to have face painting because Dubber loves to get his face painted.
Exactly. I do.
He always goes for the Braveheart look.
Yeah. He looks great. It's his look.
Just covered it helps.
And I don't want to leave this out real quick to baseball because that's my countdown. The first home game is February 20th. So circle that day right now on your calendar because that starts a very special and fun season. My favorite season. I don't know about y'all, but I know I don't even know if it's Ronnie's favorite season. I think that football is his.
Yeah.
Well, I love football. I love football, but I got to tell you, I don't know. You know how we talk about the recruits and everything, and for football. If you want to look at some recruits, go pull up TCU baseball.
Yeah.
And look at their recruits and what those guys did in high school and stuff like that. And you talk about 4 stars and all that with football. Oh, my gosh. I just, I knew it, but I just didn't realize what Schlottestegel's really done. When you start, I don't know why it was this morning, I guess. I pulled it up and just started looking at players and just their stats in high school and what they did. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was like number 1 player in Colorado, number 15th overall, number 4 player in Texas, and there's a number 3 player over here. The top 5 or 6 or 10, they were all the number in the top 5 or 10 in their state, and then, it's just ridiculous. I was like,
what website is that on?
You know what? I just pulled up TCU baseball and then went to recruits, 2018 recruits like that, or 2017. Okay. And it listed them all down there, and then it starts telling everything about what they all did. And I went, oh, my gosh.
You won baseball.
Yo, Ronnie, you can find them on Perfect Game too, perfectgame.com. Okay. And you have to search around a little bit under commitments, but they're all there. And Schlossnagle recruits at an elite level now.
Yeah, he does. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's kind of like in that level that we always complain about Texas in football. Like,
what?
Texas can get anybody they want, and they don't really turn around the talent. But Schlossnagle's getting people he wants, and look what he's able to do with them. So.
And he's able to get guys out. I mean, the reason we had the home and home with Penn State is because we got their number one recruit coming in, or the number one baseball player in Pennsylvania coming here next year.
That's right.
So we're going in. We're going to some of these states, and like Iowa may not have a ton of great college level baseball players, but we're getting the best of their best, or Colorado, or he's hit North Carolina hard here lately, and that's where we got Preston Morrison, and I think we have another one out of North Carolina now. So he's getting some of the better players from each of the states, and that's good to see because our recruiting map is spread out.
I didn't realize we were so national.
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't either until I looked at it and started reading it. And I was like, wow. And I mean, like Wes was talking about, you just go in there and you pick. He picks. He's got the number 2 guy out of this state. He goes over there and gets the number 1 guy out of this state. And over here he's at the number 3 guy out of this state. And then he's got his Texas guys too. But he's out there picking up the best players. I guess we got a brand. That class supposedly was ranked number 8, and this class right now that's for the next year is right now it's 11th. But they said if you factored in the JUCOs, he's got a couple of JUCOs, it'd probably be up about number 6. And I was like, wow, it's because I don't know, they don't factor in the JUCOs or something. They do it a little different. I didn't understand it. I was just impressed.
Well, and as we've talked with Coach before, I mean, and recruiting with baseball is a completely different animal than it is with football. I mean, you've got the limitations on scholarships, and then you have the limitations because of tuition at TCU, because you're not giving anybody a full scholarship.
Yeah.
So they have to be able to come up with the other part of whatever they don't get in scholarship for tuition. And that's, at a place like TCU, that's huge. And then you've got the academic standard on top of that. So, for him to be able to do what he's doing here at TCU is phenomenal.
No doubt about it. And, very rarely, because I asked him once, I mean, you ever give a full ride scholarship way? And he said, it would be a very rare case. I think Matt Kirk got one. He was a first-round draft choice too for the Texas Rangers out of high school. So, and he chose not to go to the Rangers and came with us, which is great. But that's one of the few exceptions I think he's had. I mean, normally it's how you get books and meals or something, and your parents got to fork over the rest of it. But to do what he's done, he's got 11.75 scholarships to give it, or parcel out however he sees fit, and so that's the limitation right there.
Well, I think that'll wrap up our basketball and baseball talk. Unless did I miss anything? Anybody want to add anything to that before we move on?
Nope.
All right.
Just looking real quick before I go on our 2018 commitments right now. We have one from Illinois. We've got one from Minnesota. We've got, I thought I saw one from Wisconsin. I know that guy from Pennsylvania. He may be on campus now, but so, our recruiting footprint is spread out nationwide. Yeah,
it is. That is very impressive. Dubber, what were you saying before?
I was just saying, I didn't mean to lead us down that rabbit hole, but I just, when we get off topic, every once in a while, Ronnie. So, I just
very infrequently.
I started thinking about, how we talk about the football recruiting and how we're starting to get 4 stars and this and that. And I just started looking at what Schlossnagle's been doing over there. And it's just amazing. I was just floored by it. I didn't realize what it was like, really, until I started reading it.
Well, that was it was a good rabbit hole, Dubber. So thanks for taking us down there. And now that we're back up for air, let's talk a little bit about the big game that that happened back on earlier this week, and that was TCU taking on Stanford in the Valero Alamo Bowl. And if everybody remembers, 2 years ago, it was a thriller against Oregon, triple overtime. Bram Kohlhausen, TCU wins, and the crowd goes crazy. Jump to 2 years later, and we're back in it against Stanford, number 13 Stanford. And you know, guys, right before the game started, Carlos over at the Fort Worth Star Telegram and I were having a conversation up in the press box, and he was asking me, you know, hey, what kind of game do you think this is going to be? And I gave him the prediction I gave on our podcast 2 weeks ago before Christmas, and I thought it was going to be a 3-score win. And he kind of looked at me, I'm afraid maybe it might be a boring game. And yeah, I tell you what, from the very beginning, this was anything but a boring game. What did you guys think about this one? Let's start with Ronnie. Ronnie, what did you think about this game?
Well, I think Patterson said the same thing I thought when we were down 21-3, down 18. This is nothing. I heard him say that after the game, or either. In fact, no, it was actually today. I think at the cast he said that, and so yeah, I don't know. I went to the one. I don't know. I didn't think it was over, but I don't know. When you've done it before, you kind of feel a little bit better than normal.
You know, the crowd certainly felt that way. Was it just me, or did it almost seem like, because the crowd was majority probably from people from San Antonio, not necessarily TCU fans, but it seemed like every single time Turpin touched the ball or we got something going, the crowd got crazy. Or when a Frog's in the open field, they were just expecting something magical to happen.
Yeah. And they weren't disappointed in a couple occasions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, there were a couple of Turpin runbacks where you could just feel the crowd was wanting to see something happen. And
then nobody really expected Des White to do that electric.
Yeah.
Jalen Rager's 93-yard touchdown. I mean, that was like a beauty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're a Texas team. And of course, San Antonio being in Texas, it's natural they'd embrace us, and they always do. They did very well. And then we turned it into a home. Yeah, it was a home team or home team environment, basically home game environment. It was good. I think the crowd was great and helped lift them up a lot.
Ryan, how about you from your seats? Between first and second half. What did you how'd you feel about this game? I know beforehand you told me you were a little nervous.
A little nervous because I was like, I don't know which team's going to show up. Obviously, if the good team shows up, we should win. If the other team that I've seen a lot of likely shows up, we'll probably not win. I was there at the game watching it, and then I actually rewatched it today, and so it's totally different watching it from the TV because you can hear the commentators and you can actually honestly see the whole game a little bit better. But the first half was a snoozer, and I was just kind of like, oh, here we go. And then towards the mid-second quarter, I guess, is when you could kind of see it shifting. And then all of a sudden you kind of knew, you're like, we're going to do this. And then, of course, after we'll talk about it, but after the halftime show, the crowd finally woke up and got into it. And then the rest is history. That second half, even though we trailed, and we were nervous, gosh, so nervous, but you kind of felt like, all right, this is what we do. They're gonna drag it out and create as much drama as possible, but we'll end up winning it in the end, and that's what we did.
Dubber, how about you? You were watching this from home. What was it like watching it live with the announcers? Because we got some mixed reviews on the board.
Well, I didn't think the announcers were terrible. I mean, they were pretty. I thought they were pretty spot on, really, kind of as far as the, they were, of course, a lot of the conversation went to Kenny, and there was a couple times when he threw the interception he could have ran. I mean, he had some wide open field, and he didn't. And I think that was, and I kind of agree with him when he started running a little bit, he kind of got a little more confident, and then all of a sudden the passing game started coming through for him a little bit more, and I think that kind of settled him down a little bit. But one thing about actually the thing I thought that was a little different than everything. I didn't think it was totally Kenny like everybody thought it was. I thought we put ourselves in the hole by trying to be tricky. I mean, you know, I don't know if the punter was supposed to do it, but, you know, we did the fake punt right there. You know, if we punt the ball down the field, maybe they drive it down and score, maybe they don't. But, you know, we give them a short field right there and we stop them. But then we do the little hide, and I got to admit, he was hidden. You know, I mean, hide Rager in the end zone and then do the throwback. It would have been a great play if it worked. But it just, you know, it didn't work, you know, and I just felt like, you know, between that and just everything, we just never got in a groove. We weren't in a groove. But one thing I will always say, and I mean, even I never think we're out of it, because I've never, of all the years, I can count on one hand, maybe not even one hand, that I've ever seen a team just totally quit. This Patterson's. They don't quit. I mean, he don't quit. I mean, and so I felt like if we could just get a couple things turned around, that we'd be all right. You know, I got to tell you, as bad as Kenny was in the first half, and I hate to say it, he was bad, but, you know, he was great in the second half. Our offensive line got dominated in the first half. I mean, they beat us up. They were physical. I mean, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. The light bulb came on, and all of a sudden, our offensive line started dominating their defensive line. You know,
do you think that was just, you know, just something that Stanford was kind of game planning, and then we finally were able to kind of adjust at halftime, or do you think it was more akin to kind of what Kenny Hill said in the post game comments when he was asked, you know, how'd you flip the switch at half, and he said, well, Coach P came in screaming at us.
Well, I think that had something to do with it too. I mean, our offensive line, I don't know what happened, because, you know, something, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's hard to believe that you come out flat in a bowl game anyway, anywhere you're at, you know, but that's just kind of what it seemed like, especially on because, you know, I tell you, I watch offensive line a lot. You know, I saw the offensive line just wasn't, I mean, it wasn't happening at first. But then all of a sudden, when it clicked and when they turned it, it went really good after that.
Yeah, it did seem in the second half that Stanford was starting to get a little gassed. But then again, you know, when TCU is doing a bunch of 3-and-outs in the first half, and let's take this half by half real quick, and we'll come back, Ryan. We'll talk about that halftime show as well. In the first half, it looked like TCU was trying to get something going on the ground, and then again, just like what happened in the Big 12 championship game, they couldn't quite get things going, and then we started seeing those little short passes in the flat, and you know, it started to feel a lot like that game again, and I was starting to get a little worried. What did you guys think about that first half offensive series out of TCU?
You know what? I think I got to go to Shakespeare on this one. Friends, frogs, and countrymen. I come here to praise Kenny Hill, not to bury him. I wanted to choke his neck.
I didn't say anything about Kenny Hill.
No, I know. I wanted to choke him that first game because it was almost like a tale of two Kennys. We had the Kenny we all hate, the guy that throws across his body, tries to throw where no man should throw, you know, put that ball where it shouldn't go, and then wait too long to throw, miss receivers, and then not run when he's got the opportunity. Then, like Dubber said, somebody turned the light on. There was a different guy out there. And that offense just clicked. The offensive line was blowing them out. The running back, Sewell, was looking great. You know, receivers are blocking. Kenny Hill was magnificent. And, you know, it was a different game that from the start of probably from the middle of the second quarter all the way to the very end, we had them. And I said right to myself right then, we got these guys. We're taking them. They're going to go down. I don't care about 21-3. We're taking them, and we did. And it's not that any of my brilliant call, but you know, I just think that I think probably the Kenny was said like in the post game interview. Coach P came in screaming, and that probably got him woken up a little bit. And then you know, the rest is history. He took charge. He did what he should have done, what he's capable of doing, and you know, we won the game, and we won it going away.
Ronnie, how about you? How did you feel about the offense in the first half?
Well, I think exactly what you just said. It was kind of the Kenny Hill that you don't like watching, and the offense, sputters along, and like I was watching Iowa State all over again. But man, that second half, it was just a whole different ball game. And Kenny, I think if I remember correctly, I think Kenny missed a wide open guy in the end zone.
Yes.
And I was like, oh man. And then he scrambles, and looks like Vic, that one, the very next touchdown pass where he's scrambling all over the place, throws it sidearm into the end zone. I don't know if those were back-to-back plays, but it seems like they were.
Yeah, I think they were. I don't know if they're back-to-back, but I think they were in the same series. And that was a great scramble, too, because, I mean, he was flushed out.
Awesome scramble.
He avoided a sack.
Throw.
And that was to White. He connected to White in the end zone
there. Yeah. On that White, I was watching with Ryan, and we're in the corner that he was running towards the end zone. And so we saw, that punt where his back was to us, and that, and right when he turned his back to us, I looked over at Ryan. I was like, oh my God, I thought he was gonna fumble. And
I'm with you, Ronnie. I thought the same thing. I thought, oh God, oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah. Wes is like in my ear. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid. Is he going to? And I go, he's going to do something stupid. I saw him go back, and I was thinking the same thing. And I'm glad he did it, because that was electric.
Like Ronnie said, you don't Willie Mays something like that. Not a football. But he made it work.
I was happy, and then I was elated. I was happy he caught it. Next thing you know, he turns around and
70
down the line and
later.
right back in there.
Yeah, Devontae who? I mean, that was great.
Well, I tell you what, Des White was on fire in that game. Yeah. I mean, he caught a touchdown. He ran that punt back, and he threw for a touchdown to Kenny Hill. And you talk about, the trickery in the first half, W, you were talking about, we were getting a little too tricky. There was a trick play that I think every Horned Frog fan knew was coming the minute he tossed that over to White, and it worked brilliantly.
Perfect. You're right. I mean, when it started hitting on all cylinders, I mean, all of a sudden we couldn't do any wrong. I mean, and that's, I still think that had to do with Kenny running the ball, kind of relaxing a little bit, and letting them kind of get him in a groove. But, that's that beautiful thing. You can have a great punter. We talk about the punter. If you outkick your coverage and the guy can catch it, woo.
Yeah. But,
he almost dropped the one before. I mean, if y'all remember, he put it and went over his head. Yeah. He misjudged it almost.
Well, no, that was Turpin. That wasn't White.
Oh, was it Turpin? Okay.
Had to jump back for the ball.
That's right. Turpin. Okay, that was right. That's right.
That was last punt return, I think, in the game was that one.
But what was fun for me is it seemed like as Kenny started taking control more, Cumbie opened up the playbook a little bit more, because he had a little more confidence in him. He's letting him throw over the middle, or he was throwing over the middle, and then, of course, that deep ball to Rager. I mean, my God.
That might have been the prettiest
that all season long.
That might have been the prettiest ball he threw all year.
Oh, year. The entire time he's been a Horned Frog.
I know Rager was wide open, but I'm telling you, he didn't have to break stride. He didn't have to reach out. He didn't have to do anything. He just caught it in full dead sprint and just kept running.
And you're not going to catch him,
dude.
Hey, let me ask you this: play, and Ryan, I know you got to see this twice because you rewatched the game. Exciting is it to know that Rager, Robinson, they're going to be on the field together next year, where that may be a Listenby Boykin kind of connection for all of 2018.
Oh yeah. He's only a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be a receiving core. it's not falling off. It's only getting better, and it's only going to get better. It's going to be ridiculous how some of the receivers we have.
No, I
and
agree.
Quarterback
We've got one that's been on the bench all year because I think he was injured in the preseason. Omar Manning, who's a lot like Josh Doxson. You'll throw the ball in his direction, he goes up and gets it.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't wait for it to come to him. He wants that ball, and that's the thing. He wants it. And I can't wait to get him on the field. And you know, because, you know, Sean Robinson's going to have some options next year.
Yeah.
And then Tre'Valence Hunt. Let us not forget him coming in.
And like I said, it's not just wide receivers. I mean, since our last podcast, Justin Rogers finally signed on. So, you know, number 2 dual threat quarterback in the nation.
That's
offense looking pretty good.
It's gonna be a nice.
I thought he had a pretty profound tweet. I think we started the third quarter. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. Exactly.
It's not how you start; it's how you. And then he just put in ellipse. So
well, yeah, but
yeah, but no, that was just
speaking of him. It
was good.
Did you happen to see his the pictures from his signing ceremony?
I heard about it.
The throne.
Yeah, I heard about
it. I'm going to admit. I looked at that and I said, oh, God, you got to be kidding me. But you know what? He's just having some fun with it. And the first thing I thought of, you may remember this. Remember Jesse Armstead, he was from Dallas, and he played for Miami?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're about. Go ahead.
You remember his signing ceremony? Well, it's a little unusual, but they had a hot tub in their living room.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the hot tub.
And his signing ceremony was in his hot tub in the living room.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, First thing you're thinking about how Jesse get a hot tub.
Yeah. It wasn't anywhere near that gauche, but you know, that throne sticks out. I remember somebody tweeted, oh, that's embarrassing. And I started thinking, you know what? It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. His mom's having some fun, trying to build it up for him. What the heck?
Hey,
maybe I'm getting old and I thought it was nice.
They can say whatever they want to about the mom, but she's our best recruiter.
She's great.
I mean, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, Debbie.
I think she's and she was working on some of these other recruits in Louisiana for us.
Well, I'll tell you, we still got a chance at. Hunter was talking to me. Of course, I forget, but he gets excited. He starts whipping out so many names and stuff. And so he's telling me we still are in the hunt for 3 or 4 stars. And he goes, I'm just telling you right now, Justin Rogers' mom's got about as much to do with it as anybody. He said she is unbelievable. She is unbelievable. The contact she makes. Yeah. Hey, pretty smart. You know, you're a lot better quarterback in the long run and stuff like that if you get a lot better players around you.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
Hey, real quick, I didn't see it. I missed it. What did they do with the drone?
With the throne?
Throne. He was sitting on the throne.
Oh, throne.
No. Not a drone. Yeah, throne.
I thought you said drone.
If you look at the picture,
it's a game of.
There's a big silver throne behind a giant J. You know, his Twitter handle is JG1.
Yeah.
So you'll see the picture there if you go to Twitter and look JG or at JG1, and you'll see a big JG1. I mean, they're like 4 or 5 foot tall letters and a throne behind that.
Oh, brother.
And then she had a football on some kind of little pedestal. I mean, it was, you know what? I looked at it and thought the first time, like I said, and I thought, oh, good Lord. But the more I thought about it, hey, you know, this one time.
But hang on. Wasn't he the one who tweeted out with an LSU hat on, like a day before signing or something? No?
I don't remember that. But at his signing ceremony, he did have, you know how like they all have the hats at the signing ceremony? He had a TCU hat and a TCU hat.
Yeah.
that was the thing at the signing ceremony. I was like, okay, you know,
right.
When I saw that, you know, Wes, I was kind of thinking the same thing with the throne and everything. And I'm not a big recruiting guy, so you know, the big hoopla thing just kind of goes over my head. But when I saw him having the 2 hats, I knew he was just having a great time, and he deserves it. I mean, you know, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, well, Talk, let's segue into another group of antics, and let's discuss what happened at halftime at the Alamo Bowl for a moment.
Yeah,
And
I'm not sure.
no, half the stadium probably had no idea what happened at halftime in the Alamo Bowl because it was a little confusing. So, TCU band does her thing. The Stanford band, which is rather infamous at this point, comes out and does their halftime routine. And Ryan, it was a little hard sometimes in the press box because of how they have the press box set up to kind of hear what the PA announcer was saying. But what was the general feel and reaction? Were you able to hear the PA announcer from the stands at halftime?
Yeah, you could hear him very clearly. And like halftime, half the time you're talking to the people sitting next to you and you have more going on. You're not just focusing on the band, but slowly the PA guy got everybody's attention. And Ronnie, you can jump in here too. And since then, I've gone back and read the transcript of it, but I don't remember with what he started because I wasn't even listening. But I chimed in when they started talking about my queso. Made some comment about Texans and queso and Gatorade, which was kind of
what he said most people drink Gatorade, but Texans drink queso.
Yeah, and I was like, I know they were trying to be funny, and you're just kind of like, it's kind of like me watching Saturday Night Live. Sometimes, like the church lady was funny, but the stuff they do these days, I just don't think it's all that funny.
You're dating yourself,
and so Ryan. And I was like, it's really, I guess they're just trying to be funny, but then they just took it too far. I'm so sick and tired of politics coming into sports, and when they start talking about building a wall, and they first started it off with alternative facts. And if anybody keeps up with politics, and they know that's what Kelly and Conway got beat up over. So they started off with that, and I started tuning out. And then they brought me back in with the queso comment. Then they started talking about building a wall and how much money we were wasting on that, how many people we could send to college for that amount of money. It's supposed to be tongue in cheek, but it was just kind of in bad taste. You can take humor so far, and then you cross the line and you're going to tick off one whole group. And that's pretty much what they did. But we were all kind of thanking them at the end because they woke up the crowd. We'll talk about it more too, but it really ticked everybody off when they, I think everybody loves In-N-Out Burger. I like it, but don't mess with our Whataburger,
I love In-N-Out. I like
In-N-Out. I like what they represent. I like how they don't freeze anything, and I'm glad we have choices here in Texas. And it's just too bad that they don't have choices in California because I think they'd like Whataburger too.
I
think the band went to Whataburger after the game and apologized or.
How the story goes is that they during the halftime show they made a dig at Whataburger saying it was they only serve water.
Yeah, I saw that,
and that kind of got everybody's ire up because good ribbing, but the fans still booed because it's it's Whataburger. But what you guys may not have known because you were at the game in the stands is that the Whataburger Twitter account tweeted at the Stanford band very shortly after that and said, well, if the Stanford band actually had some Whataburger, maybe they wouldn't be so unhappy. and it just took off from there. And the Stanford band replied back, and there was back and forth. And it was kind of like, if anybody follows on Twitter, and this may sound, for people who don't follow Twitter, this may sound like the most inane thing in the world, but some of the fast food restaurants have some of the better Twitter accounts when it comes to comedy and just trolling people on the internet. Wendy's, if you don't know anything about Twitter, go and look up Wendy's Twitter account. You'll thank me later. But Whataburger's Twitter account was going back for the Stanford band, and they actually told the Stanford band, it's like, hey, we'll give you guys a bunch of coupons. You guys try it yourself. And the Stanford band took them up on it. And that, Ronnie, that's what you were seeing because they went out to Whataburger after the game, and they ended up tweeting back and apologizing to Whataburger.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I watched the game on TV, so we didn't see any halftime.
So they have it on YouTube.
So all I did is all I heard about. All of a sudden, you pull it up and you hear all this stuff. So all I did is pull up and read everything that was supposedly said, and I guess I just didn't get it. I wasn't there to get it, so I just didn't ever really get it. It didn't bug me one way or another. just the way the read was. I don't know how the announcer read it. I don't know how. It's almost like
Read it.
The way he read. I mean, the way I read it is they were almost throwing stick back at themselves as they were making fun at Texas. They were kind of making fun at themselves too. So I don't know how it went on the TV, but I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen. We're talking about one of the better football games I've seen all deal, and all I keep seeing is this stinking band thing on TV. I mean, on everything. I'm trying to read about the game, and woo.
I think it came down to they were trying to be funny. They weren't trying to tick us all off, but it's one of those things where you tell a joke and it just kind of falls flat. And I think that's what happened. It just fell flat. I mean, they had so many things they were hitting Texas about, and I laugh at. I follow Texas humor on Facebook. I mean, we're a funny bunch of people here in Texas, and nothing more cracks me up. But there were just a few. It was probably the political piece that they brought into it, and it just it got old after about the seventh joke, about that not being that great.
It came off like a bunch of inside jokes, and nobody got.
Well, that's what it kind of looked like, sounded like to me. And of course, I thought, you know what? If we'd been up by 20, it might have went over a little bit better at halftime too. Well, we're not in a good mood by then, right?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of points. The script that was posted was not the entire thing that was actually said at halftime.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're going off of that script, they left off some things.
Oh, did they? Okay.
That's the stuff that pissed us off. Really, sorry, you might bleep that out, but anyway.
Well, it's
an internet show. We're good.
I get that tree thing they've got. What was that other thing with that?
The star?
You know about that horse-looking thing?
It's a llama.
Oh.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? Yeah, okay, so there's a Disney cartoon, The Emperor's New Groove, with David Spade.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've heard.
Okay, so I've got kids, so Disney cartoons are the thing. So no, there's a Disney cartoon called The Emperor's New Groove where David Spade plays a Mayan or a Incan king or something. He gets turned into a llama. So that's what that character was. It was the llama from Emperor's New Groove, and it was the drum major dressed as that. So I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got to ask a second thing. This isn't about the band, because this is the other thing I saw on Twitter and all this, and just that. So the kid that goes to the running back after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pulls off his thing, takes a picture, puts it back on. I didn't, if that'd been Baker Mayfield or been somebody in our conference, the running back's a stand-up guy. It just didn't hit me like it hits people. Oh my gosh. I don't know if he should have did or not, probably not, but he knew what he wanted to do. We won. Hey, the way I look at it, we won, what's the big, but boy, I tell you what, that is raised off. That made it all the way to Sports Center.
Well, let me, because that dovetails into the second point that I was going to say in just a second ago. Has anybody confirmed that that's an actual TCU fan and not just somebody from San Antonio who was?
Oh yeah, he is he supposedly. Well, I'm just telling you what I understand. Supposedly his parents live around here. They've been season tickets holder for 17 years. He's gotten all the autographs from different players at TCU and this and that. And after the game, he was standing I saw him on the TCU sideline over there. But during the game, so he was over there, and how he got down there, who knows? But when he went out there and did that and put it back on, he just said, he said, I wanted a picture with him, and I didn't think that was that big a deal, and blah blah blah, and you know what? Maybe I was right there with him. I just didn't think it was a big deal. But
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, Love for me. Love was probably the best all around player in the country this year.
Period. And he's a good guy, good human being, good person.
He should have won the Heisman.
Yeah, he probably just didn't want to offend him. His thumb.
Yeah, it was said in the paper, quote, a gruesome thumb injury.
Let me tell you, they showed it on TV. I mean, they were, there was a little gap in their little tent.
Yeah.
And so right where the gap was is where his thumb was. And let me tell you, it was probably 5 minutes after it happened, and it's still just dripping blood. I'm not talking about just little, it was flowing. I mean, it definitely got, I bet it got, it looked like to me was when he got hit, the guy came by and his chin strap, the buckle, probably just sliced right down his thumb. Because I'm going to tell you, it was a deep cut. I mean, it was bleeding. It wasn't kind of bleeding. It was, I mean, he was bleeding like a stuck pig.
Well, I'm going to blame that one on the refs. And we haven't talked about the officiating in this game, but it was something I kept telling Wes. These guys were not blowing the whistle until everybody just decided to hit the turf. I mean, you know, forward progress could have been stopped 5 seconds ago, and they're still letting these guys scrum on. I mean, it was I told Wes, I said, at some point in time, somebody's going to get hurt if they don't, you know, blow the whistle when forward progress stops. And sure enough, unfortunately, it was Love who ended up getting hurt in that.
Well, there's a part of that I appreciate because they let them play. You know, Big 12 refs are flag happy and review happy. Yeah. And that would add a lot of time to the game. But my God, there were, like you said, there's a point where the play is no longer advancing or nobody's going anywhere. They should blow it dead a little faster. And there were some they just penalties they let go. I mean, it seemed like a lot of holding calls. Why throw it?
Yeah, holding, offsides, false starts, pass interference calls on everybody.
We saw a bunch of offsides up there.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
letting them play. It's good and bad.
You know, the big thing about the forward progress now, you know, when I was playing, you couldn't come up behind a player and push them physically.
Right.
But now with that rule kind of change where you can do it, as long as people are pushing still and progress is kind of, I mean, you can push, you just can't pull them. And as long as that's happening, they're not going to blow the whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but there was several plays though where even with people pushing, they're stopped. I mean, that fumble that we caused, the strip that we caused down there, and the ball went back another 10 yards. That play had been dead for a good 3 seconds, and we came up and stripped the ball.
That one kind of got commented on a little bit. It was right. You're exactly right. That was, but you know what? I saw a few things that didn't get called the other way, so I was like, all right, we got it.
Yeah, I mean, and to Wes's point, I mean, they let him play both ways, and I think it was 3 penalties total. Hey,
I'd rather let them play than not play and be flag happy, throwing the flag all the time and dictating the game.
Yeah, yeah, like that Kentucky game. If you guys saw that Kentucky game, that referee crew was they wanted to become part of the game, and
were they Big 12 officials?
No, I think they were. I want to say they were Big 10 officials.
But well, in our game, they were SEC officials, and the SEC lets them play.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they did.
I really appreciate it in a lot of ways.
And it went both ways, and that was fine.
Sure.
So that was all good. But my point, sorry, to kind of get into that. So the guy, obviously the guy who ran over to get a picture with Love is a TCU fan. That's great. But one of the things we alluded to earlier is that the city of San Antonio, I love San Antonio for a couple of reasons. My wife was born there. Her family all lives down there. We go down there all the time. It's a fantastic city. But the last 2 times we've played in the Alamo Bowl, I at least 40 to 50% of the stands were filled with native San Antonians, and they were all dressed in purple. And it reminded me very much like the El Paso experience in the Sun Bowl against USC. Mm-hmm. Ronnie, did you go to the Sun Bowl?
Yeah, actually, I did. We drove all the way out there. My girlfriend at the time. It's kind of the start of it all.
And it was like that though. Remember when you walked in, and I was thinking it was probably going to be filled with a lot of USC fans, but it's like the city of El Paso showed up in purple.
Yeah, definitely welcomed us. Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I was very impressed with our show, and I know everyone's disappointed and not going to the New Year's 6 game, and we had just been there, but our side was filled to the rim.
I want to add something to that. We always go, the last 2 times we've gone to the kickoff luncheon where it's really neat. It's extra. Like if you go with the Frog Club, it's an extra fee, and anybody can go because it's sponsored by the Alamo Bowl, and they have Stanford on one side and TCU on the other, and they have dueling bands, and the cheerleaders and showgirls from both sides are there, and then they bring in the players from each side, and they have the seniors sitting up front, the coaches, and everybody talks. It's really neat. And then the MC for the evening or for the luncheon was so complimentary of TCU, and he talked so much it made me a little uncomfortable because I was kind of like, there is another team here, you know. But it was really good. They were just very complimentary of the last time we were there, and then of course this time, and actually both teams, them just being class acts. And I wanted to say this too. This is a kind of a funny story. So we were in the same hotel. The team hotel is the same one as last time, which I love, and it's the Grand Hyatt on the Riverwalk, and it's just so neat because it's just this huge tower. So I could remember how they decorated 2 years ago, which was kind of sad because that was our little incident with Boykin, and they had a lot of individual players, you know, plastered on windows, and of course they took them all down before any of us arrived. So there were a lot of blank spaces in the hotel. This year, you know, they did a whole new marketing thing, and one of the Stanford, Mark Cohen was telling me this, one of the Stanford staff said, God, you know, your hotel did so much more than our host hotel. And actually he looked at me and he was like, well, that's our marketing department. You know, that's probably Drew Martin and in his group of people that they just, I mean, do not hold back. The elevators, just everything that TCU does was top notch. The hotel does do a lot of stuff. They're all dressed in Alamo Bowl and TCU clothing. And then, of course, the Frog Club and alumni group, just with the package and the events that they host for us are just top notch. So easy. It's well worth the money to just spend on that. So I want to take a moment to thank TCU for just always making every experience my next favorite experience. You know, we all have our favorite, probably the Rose Bowl, but I can look back at the Peach Bowl and many of them and think, that was just so much fun. My best trips typically are the ones that I spend with TCU. So.
Well,
I was this is my second Alamo Bowl, and you know, it really is. It's just a for us in Texas, because obviously Austin, it's an easy drive, and San Antonio, the Riverwalk's a great place. You can walk to the game. Pac-12 number 2, so you're going to get, you know, a pretty good team to come there. It's a wonderful bowl. I could go there, you know, every other year and be happy with it because it's just nice. It's this. I love our bowl setup.
Yeah, I do too. We're lucky.
And the weather cooperated this time. So,
finally.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It was a little touch and go there for a minute, but
Yeah, and just to kind of add to that kudos to the marketing department. As I said earlier, I drove down there before the game, and I had to stop by my mother-in-law's house to drop off Christmas presents and stuff for the family down there. And she was telling me, I've seen TCU stuff all over town all week long. And sure enough, while I was driving into San Antonio, I couldn't tell you how many billboards I passed, digital billboards that had TCU stuff on it. So they did a fantastic just plastering TCU marketing all over San Antonio. Even my mother-in-law, who's not really into football, was aware that TCU was in town, and she was only told that I was coming in, you know, the day before. So they, you know, Drew Martin, his group did a fantastic job. That was also Mark Cohen and the athletic department. They did fantastic. So it was
digital
well
billboards
done.
as well as regular big billboards too. I passed one I came down the Hill Road 130 from Georgetown, and there was a regular billboard coming in San Antonio. It was all Frog, and it was great.
Yeah,
real nice welcome into the city.
Yeah, and that alumni tailgate was pretty nice, Ryan.
It was very nice. Yep. It was a lot of fun. I want to add too one more thing. I could probably just go on and on, but I love what the Frog Club and the alumni group, what they do is they give, like, all the restaurants. We had several happy hours and dinners and breakfasts, and they would always give the wait staff and anybody that was working our party. They looked like everybody a purple. Really nice, actually. I was kind of like, do you want that? Because I was like, where can I get a shirt like that? They're always really, really creative, neat one of a kind TCU bowl shirts that they would give out, so the whole wait staff was felt a part of our group, and it's just a little gesture that goes so far with everybody.
They think of the little things, and that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So good job.
Well, it was good. And in the end, TCU ends up winning 39-37, and it was a fantastic experience. I'm kind of sorry I took off at midnight and back to Arlington. I kind of wish I could have stayed around for a couple of days and kind of enjoyed the rest of the festivities in San Antonio. I know, Ryan, you said the hotel was hopping right after the game. So
yeah, it sure was. It's always so neat. The players come back. Everybody, all the kids, everybody waits out in the foyer for all the players, and they come in, and I have most of it on video. People are getting autographs. I got a picture with Kenny, and it's just, I don't know. I like the way that these players, and I'm assuming it comes from the coaches, but how they're not too good for autographs, or what, they're very accessible after the game.
And you got not you, but Rima's grandson got Coach P's autograph on the way down in the elevator, right?
Yeah, it's funny. So I used to coach for a long time gymnastics, and we always had a rule where the parents were not allowed to talk to the coaches before a meet, or even right after a meet, because there's a lot of emotions going, and it was better to call on Monday or come have a conference on Monday. And I coached under Kim Zameskel, and she of course was under Romanian, Bella Crowley and all that. And it's just very strict, very good environment, but just a very, very strict environment. So anytime Gary Patterson's around, he's a little intimidating, and he could be grumpy sometimes too. And so Mike always wants to go get his autograph or say hi to him, and I always stop him. I say, no, he is in game mode. Like, nobody needs to mess with him. Just leave him alone until after the game. And he's always super nice after the game. But to your point, Sean, is Rima's grandson Braden on the elevator. Gary got on, and he doesn't smile. He'll barely make eye contact, and he turns around and faces, the elevator door. And of course, Braden, being a kid's like, "Can I have your autograph?" And Arima just grabbed him and was like, "No," it stopped him. And yeah, it was like, "No, he's focusing on the game right now." And Gary turned right around immediately and just said, "Give me that," and took his ticket and gave his autograph. So that was pretty funny. Pretty good. Pretty gracious.
Coach P is one of a kind, he's that kind of guy. So yeah, Rima was kind of retelling that story to me a little bit, and she was kind of, it was almost like you can kind of feel like as she was telling the story, like the color was running out of her face when he was like, "Can I have your autograph?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, no! What are you doing? Don't ask that." And coach was pretty gracious about that, and just kind of like turned around and like, "Of course I will," and that's just the kind of thing that's the kind of guy he is.
Not grumpy all the time.
No.
And half the time he's not even grumpy. We just think he is because he's not smiling. He's a little bit more shy and introverted than people expect him to be.
Oh, did you see that video of him singing, or whistling and playing Tennessee Whiskey?
That was amazing. I wish I knew the players' names who were up there singing that, because I want to get them on a podcast. I actually tweeted or texted Kelsey Patterson and just said, we need to name them KillerFrogs from San Antonio and get them on a podcast, because that brought a tear to my eye. They were talented, all three of them. God.
It was I cannot pronounce his first name, but Davis and James Terry Jr. Okay. And I apologize, because Davis did such a great job singing the lead on that, but I'm going to try it. It's spelled Pakamiaia. That is way too many vowels for me to try to pronounce.
Yeah. Oh, so the song was Tennessee Whiskey.
Tennessee Whiskey, and he gets up there with Davis and Terry Jr. and he's doing the whistling. He's playing the secondary part on the guitar, and they are just having a great time.
I heard this, and I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I don't think they were expecting Gary to get up there. I think they had a band, three of them that were going to go, and one of the guys at the last minute didn't travel, and so Gary got up there and played with them, and I think that might have been a surprise last minute. I'm not sure.
That was. That's
exactly
right.
Oh, that's so neat. That's special.
Well, and Davis played the other guitar part, and
And the guy played the saxophone.
Terry Jr.
Right?
Yeah, and Terry Jr. played saxophone, and I was a sax major, so I was like, wow, that's just fantastic, and they both did a fantastic job. So yeah, it was nice to see because they're all having a great time, and the crowd got into it, and the players got into it, and that it just again kind of epitomizes that whole sense of family.
Yeah,
That not only the football team has started to cultivate, but the other teams at TCU as well. I mean, between what Reagan Peebly's doing with the women's basketball team, obviously what Dixon's doing with the men's basketball team, and Schlossnagel's been doing with the baseball team, and it goes on and on and on with soccer and tennis. And it is a family atmosphere, and those guys just have a great time, and I love seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who else was in the house? First of all, they probably didn't show this on TV, but they always do the Riff Ram video, and you're like waiting there, wondering. And I was like, it's got to be Bram Kohlhausen. It has to be. And it was. And the crowd just went crazy. And I want to say that might have been when the temperature changed in that place. I don't know. I can't remember. But I thought after
second
that,
quarter.
we're totally going to win now.
Yeah, I think that was second quarter when we're still down 21-3.
And then it just kind of shifted in there. And he is, oh, gosh, he is so cute. He was back at the hotel and standing with Kenny. And Kenny's so sweet too, because I saw Kenny and we were like, oh, let's get a picture. And Bram, you don't recognize them when they're not, don't have their number on. Really, I don't, because they always have their helmet on their head. And Bram looks like he's 12. He's such a baby face. And so Kenny's like, Bram, you need to be over here too. And he was like, no. He's just kind of modest. And I was like, oh, heck yeah, I'd love to have both of y'all in a picture. But he was there having fun. I think he and Kenny are actually pretty good friends. So that was fun to see him.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a good experience all the way around. And of course, the comeback Frogs come back again in San Antonio. So that's the bowl game. Anybody want to add anything else before we come to the end of our podcast?
Well, like I said earlier, this has been a great season. If you'd have told me at the first of the year we'd end up like this, I'd have taken it. I mean, after last year, hey. And now, the funny thing is, I don't know what people are going to gripe about because the Kitty Hill era is over. I mean, so now, and, he went out on top. Hey, we had a great record. We had a great season. And so, hey, it's going to be fun to see what's coming up the pipe next year.
Yeah. Hope all the coaches stick around for another great season. Got a big game with Ohio State. Maybe in our second game of the season. Brand new quarterback.
Is it the second or the third game of the season?
I thought it was the second. Is it the third? Okay, well that's
what it said in an article. Though I thought it was the second too, but then I read an article where it said that we'll have 2 games get ready for them, but at the same time they'll have 2 games to get ready for us. So that's what.
Well, Shad, I just hope on that game everybody knows the right colors they're supposed to be wearing.
Oh, yes.
I jumped out there and said, oh, yes, quick. Who's that? Oh, Ryan. Oh,
mm-hmm. No problem. There'll be no problem with that.
Okay, I'm just making sure, right.
No problem.
Yeah, and it is the third game. So we got the Southern Jaguars and the mighty SMU Mustangs before we play Ohio State. So.
We're playing Southern again?
Southern, yeah.
Are we playing
Southern
out there
University
in Fort Worth?
No, that's in Fort Worth. So we play Southern at home. We go to Dallas, so a home game against SMU. Then we play Jerry's World, Ohio State, and then we go down to Austin to play Texas, and then we're back for Iowa State after that, and then we got a bye week. So it's like next year's schedule is one of those where it's just going to be a little weird, but we're going to get all the better teams in Fort Worth. That's that kind of schedule where you get Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, all there in Fort Worth.
Fantastic.
And Kansas State. We also get Kansas State. But we do have to go out to West Virginia. We do have to, unfortunately, go down to Baylor.
Texas is going to be good next year.
Austin.
Yeah, we have to go to Austin. So, yeah, but overall, I think
y'all can stay at my house the night before the game. How about that?
Okay, that's a deal.
Sounds good. Everybody hear that? Everyone's going to stay at Wes's house before the Texas game.
Bring bourbon and beer.
do that.
Player will appreciate a couple hundred people camping in your backyard.
Yeah.
That'll work out really well.
I've got a tent too, so I can put 4 people in a tent out there. So.
Well, it was a fantastic year, and this senior class has won 40 games.
Wow.
40 games. That's obviously an average of 10 per year. I mean, that's a fantastic stat. And given the fact that, we're now considered, in the big power conferences, it's an amazing stat. It really is a testament to what these guys have done. And Kenny Hill's been a part of that for the last 2 years. And these guys deserve all the accolades going out. And I hope many of them continue to play and find teams in the professional ranks. But, these guys, we owe them a debt, and they've done a fantastic job as TCU Horned Frogs.
Yeah, they've been a great group. No doubt about it.
And with that, we've come towards the end of our podcast, which means it's time once again for the player or coach of the week. And by now, you know how this goes. Each one of the panel chooses their favorite player or coach of the week. Doesn't have to necessarily be football. It could be of any sport. And this week, we'll go ahead and start with Wes. Wes, what do you have for player or coach of the week?
Well, like I said earlier, I come to praise Kenny Hill, not to bury him. Kenny Hill played like a champion. He's got my vote of player for the week.
Well deserved, and also MVP of the Alamo Bowl. So, and that was Dubber on TV. Did you guys get to see the ceremony?
No, they cut it off. You could have went to ESPN 3.
Oh,
cut it off pretty quick.
What was on ESPN 3? Horse racing?
I just think that's the streaming station for them.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Well, for those who didn't see it, Traven Howard got the defensive MVP, and Hill got the offensive MVP. And there was a little mix-up there in the award ceremony. Howard grabbed the offensive MVP award and was lifting it above his head, and they're like, wait, Howard, that's the offensive. And they look exactly the same. It wasn't a big deal, but it was just kind of funny at the end. So,
Yeah.
All right. Ryan, how about you? Player or coach of the week?
Oh man, that's a tough one because, gosh, Rager and oh gosh, I just went blank on the name.
And what?
White.
Yes, thank you. Those 2 plays that he had, just 2 touchdowns, or he threw the trick play for the touchdown and then he scored the other touchdown. But I'm gonna have to go with Kenny for sure. Good job.
Made Wes
You're
happy.
wise.
Yeah.
All right, Ronnie, how about you? Player or coach of the week?
Well, gosh, I mean, I agree with Kenny. I mean, the guy, we're lucky to have him. He won 11 games for us. I hate to say that the same as everyone else, but that's who, he came back and pulled it off and game and what a way to go out. I'm glad he got everything back on track for him and us, because we it's quite a stumble. So I'm gonna have to go with Kenny too.
Kenny
Good
Hill,
choice.
3 for 3, and Dubber, how about you? Player or coach of the week?
I mean, I got a toss up. I mean, between Kenny and White, because White did he did 2 or 3 just tremendous things to turn the tide also of that game with Kenny. So I'm just going to go with Kenny because it's going to be unanimous then, and I won't be the bad guy.
Oh, man, I haven't even picked yet. So
Yeah, but now the pressure's on you. Now the pressure's on you to be the bad guy or not.
See, because I was in the same
I know.
same pickle as you, because I felt if I wanted to be, oh man,
See, that's
Dang it,
exactly
Dubber.
how I felt.
Come on, Sean.
I wouldn't have felt so bad if you picked White, but
I know.
I will say this though. White consistently throughout the entire game was fantastic. He had a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and that touchdown for the punt return. But then again, Kenny had a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. So, I mean, that was the second time this season I think he's done that in a game.
Exactly. Okay.
I don't know, because I'm part of me the logical side's like, but Kenny had an interception. You know what though? Yeah, I'll go peer pressure. I'll go with him.
No, don't do peer pressure. No. Do what you feel. Maybe he's listening. He deserves one vote, especially when he almost got two.
Who? Desmond?
Yeah, Des White.
Well, then I'll split it with you. I'll go back to Des if you go with me.
We can do. He can get 1.5 votes.
Yeah.
How about we give him? Hey, Dubber. How about we give it to both of them?
Yeah. So I'll give a co.
We'll give it, co-player of the week, Des White, and
You guys have
Kenny
no
Hill.
guts. I'm disappointed.
Hey, with as many picks as I've taken where I've been way out on the ledge, you got to give me at least one this season. So
Hey, you're
Yeah,
good right
yeah.
there. You're
Yeah,
good.
there
Hey,
you
you're
go.
good.
all right, so that's player and coach of the week, and we'd like to thank everybody for listening to us. And we've come to the end of our podcast. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. Of course, if you are on iTunes, we would ask you go online and go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. It also helps us out with iTunes rankings. You can also find us on social media. We are on Twitter and Instagram at @killer_frogs. That's at @killer_frogs. Got to add that underscore there. And also on Facebook, facebook.com/killerfrogs. You can also find us on killerfrogs.com, and where you can go and sign up for a free account and go ahead and talk TCU athletics with the rest of us knuckleheads. And with that, we are at the end of the podcast. We hope everybody had a safe and happy new year. And with that, we're at the point where we all say,
Go.
Frogs.
Go Frogs. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks,
Thank
John.
you.
Thanks,
Hey,
Ron.
Ronnie, thanks for joining us tonight.
Everybody be safe over New Year.